I'm Danya,
And I'm Shaheen.
and you're listening to or watching
Reality Woo Woo.
It's Not Something to Believe in.
It's something to talk about.
And on today's episode, we're diving into Aries season. It's the technical beginning of the astrological year. It's the spring equinox.
It's my rising sign. It's my Venus. It's me time.
Yeah, that's Aries energy.
I'm just representing the culture.
Yeah. Thanks for dialing in that Aries vibe right away, right from the top of the episode.
I'm here for
we were chit-chatting before the episode started, and it's like shit's starting to feel better, wouldn't you say? It's just like,
yeah, just like the smell of spring around. Not quite allergy season yet. It's just like right after the rain. I mean, in California anyways, can't say that for everywhere.
It's been pouring. It's been nonstop.
Yeah.
But the sun finally came out today, and I'm feeling my vibes are feeling a little better. Yeah, the time is different.
Like I have realized after living in San Francisco for so long, the weather kind of was always the same. I didn't realize how much it affected me, but now living with seasons, I'm like, wow, the sun just really affects me. It changes me, not having rain after some time.
I realized that I happened to be in Seattle like Memorial Day weekend a few years ago, and it was obviously think about Seattle. It was the first sunlight that these people had seen, and the vibe in that city was amazing. Like every bar was full. Yeah, every rooftop, people, just strangers on the street were like saying hi to me. Like it was like, whoa, people are happy and jazzed right now. Which, to your point, like San Francisco, the weather's always the same, but in LA the weather's usually also always the same. It's the opposite. It's like it's always sunny, so you kind of don't get that semblance of change, but that rhythm is natural. It's something that I think humans crave,
Makes me appreciate the sun so much more.
Yeah, I was giving a reading to a fellow Virgo earlier too, and we were talking about how for Virgos, like I've been doing this new thing where I call it Friend Fridays, and so I work Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays I just am like, oh, like I'll invite a friend over for a beach walk, or like I'll go to someone's yoga class, or like I basically have made like boundaries around friendship so that I will do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like that's I love that. A spring vibe, is like, oh, I feel motivated to like see people again.
Yeah. Schedule it in.
Yeah. Make
whatever
it part
way
of your plan.
Whatever your love language is, figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. We've chit chatted enough. I think let's give you the notes on Aries season. So the facts, the whole, I know that's what you come to us for, the cold, hard facts. So the dates this year are March 21st, which as mentioned is also the spring equinox. I'm so excited. I'm going to do full blown witchcraft. I don't know what it is yet, but there will be magic happening.
Yes, there will be capes involved.
There will be worshiping of the sun. There will be candles lit. Don't you worry about it. Yeah, so that's happening on March 21st, and it goes through April 19th, because then Taurus season begins on 4/20. How applicable. Truly, just
that's
the
how
perfect.
We do it.
Yeah, it's the right,
is a new moon always on the equinox, or is that a cool thing?
I don't know enough. You know what? I was going to lie and pretend like I knew, but
You're gonna pretend?
I was going to pretend.
But it felt kind of like the same thing where you realized that, did you realize
that the new moon is always in the sign?
Always in the sign. That
yeah.
Like
I don't know
obvious,
if the new moon is always on the equinox, but that's a fair point.
Feels cool.
What is interesting about this though, like what I'm about to say is unique, doesn't happen every year. So we have the new moon in Aries on the 21st, and then we have a second new moon in Aries. So I contradicted myself. Yeah.
A new moon?
Yeah, a new moon.
In the same place as new again?
It will be at the beginning of Taurus season. So the new moon will not be in Taurus. So I was wrong when I made that connection, but it's usually that way. But this is a weird exception because
It's a special year.
There's a solar eclipse on 4/20. Woo!
On
Isn't that
420,
fun?
there's a solar eclipse.
Yeah, and it's in Taurus, but it's an Aries new moon. So I want us to think about that a little bit as we're discussing this episode or walking through this information, because that's a 30-day period, and that's actually going to, like, you've got one high intensity like Aries energy new moon, and then you've got a second one 30 days later. So to me, that's like prime get shit done. Like, that's like, get it going. You've got the support of this like time of year, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting how Aries, I associate it so much with the sun. Maybe it's because it's my rising, but it's also just like the beginning of spring and like it's sunny kind of energy. It's ruled by Mars, but.
And the fire, that's because it's fire energy. So we're like, and we've honestly, Pisces season has been a lot. It's been a lot. Like, you know, we've had banks.
I've just been waking up and crying a lot.
I sent you that
news.
LA Times article today about like they're turning San Quentin, or like at least a part of it, into like a Scandinavian prison. I'm like so stoked on this, and that
feels like real progress in the right direction.
Yeah, and
I could have never believed that.
I would never have thought that, right? Like, I know. So there's been a lot of sobbing. I realized, which I texted you about, I've been just fucking enraged. Like, my default emotion is like annoyed and just enraged at people. And so we often think we kind of we make fun of Pisces as like emo, sad, crying, but I kind of think it just amplifies emotional reactions, and mine tends to be anger. So there's that.
Yeah, well, maybe anger is the new black.
Yes.
Or like, I get like fashion wise, that's, you know.
I actually just picked up a new book too that somebody recommended to me called Love and Rage. I think it's called Love and Rage. Yeah. And it's like how your spiritual path can be illuminated through anger, like through rage, like that. Instead of being like, oh, this is a bad negative thing. It's like, well, why are you mad? And kind of like diving into that a little bit. Okay. We went through this all, but the energy and vibe is Aries is a fire sign. It's the beginning, it signals new beginnings, but that can also make it a little childish, a little impulsive. Ruled by Mars, you said, and they're a ram. So we got all that. I want
to make like a noise for a ram, but
I don't know what
kind of like a
rams.
goat. Is it like something?
I think probably.
I take it back.
Just pretend we didn't do it.
The sound of flames. Aries.
It's like what's Hades from Hercules? Doesn't
yes,
fire out of his head? Yeah, that's
Hades has major Aries energy, which is funny because they also have a god named Aries. We won't get into it. I think
too much mythology.
Yeah, there's connections
actually
there.
While
Hades
I was
probably rules Uranus, Saturn. I don't know.
While I was researching this, I started to read about the mythology, and I was like, oh, this is more Shaheen's lane. But apparently it is a ram because of
Tell me.
Jason and the Argon, like the fleece. There's like something with a fleece in Greek mythology. I don't know enough about it, but I saw it and I was like, not for me.
Well, I always thought that it was interesting that Jesus is a Capricorn, but I guess he's Capricorn, but he's holding a baby lamb as if to say like, this was the other era and now I'm in charge. That we don't get into it. That's too much woo-woo. But for another episode, let's do something.
Interesting.
Yeah, don't get me started on the way that Venus. Okay, never mind.
Okay. No, that is interesting to think about. Okay, so as we said, the new moon is in Aries on March 21st. So Aries rules your first house. I told you we were going to learn more about houses. So I think this is my way of like dripping it in. So your first house yeah, house drip. the house drop, the drip drop of house. So your first house rules the self. It rules you. It's, again, which makes sense, right? I'm saying that it's a little bit of a selfish sign. It kind of thinks about itself first. So in terms of what, like, the ritual that I'm going to recommend to you, not my full witchcraft, but for you, the listener,
Witchcraft light.
I want you to think about a skill or a passion or an interest that has just been like kind of like swirling in your mind a little bit. Like you've been like, you saw one TikTok video and you're like, that seems kind of cool. Like, I wish I could, I wonder if I could learn to do that. And so my homework for you is to listen to a podcast or watch a TED Talk or read a book. I mean, ideally you'd read a fucking book, but I know that's asking a lot of people, on whatever that new thing is. Because I feel, as we mentioned, there's the 2 new moons. I feel like you're going to have like a push behind you. And I want you to plant some new seeds for yourself. Like, okay, if you get all of a sudden into like, I don't know, fucking renovating or like, I don't know, being a mechanic on like vintage Volkswagens, let's say, like you just want to get into that. Like, that's not going to be anything today, but that could be something in a year from now for
Put
you.
Put yourself in YouTube and study it and bring it closer to you. Yeah, that's great.
Yes, that's because it's in your first house. Let's think of a simple self-improvement, like follow your joy, follow something you're already like mildly interested in, and invest a little bit into it. Just
for
like
you. Yeah, not for the rest of the world, for you.
And not for capitalism, just for you, sweetheart. Like, just see where this leads you. Yeah.
No goals attached.
None. Just
I love that.
Just
That's a great
for
idea.
funsies. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad. For me, like, what would be your thing, Shaheen?
I was just thinking. I was like, shit. Now I have to figure something out.
Now you have to do the homework. Why is Danya always giving us homework? I'm becoming more psychic, as you know.
You're becoming more psychic. Yeah. You've been taking some boot camps and learning more about it. Tell me more about that. Is that what your goal is, to do more of that?
Yeah, to be fair, can I tell you the truth? Is that I am doing that concurrently with it's called $1 Million Brand Academy. So I'm doing this, like, because I'm an entrepreneur and run my own thing. I'm just like kind of learning more of the mechanics behind that. It is a lot of like mindset stuff. So I have the psychic stuff not on the back burner. I'm still like in it. I'm reading the information, but I got to the week on mediumship, like talking to the dead, and I got a little, ooh, that's too much. Not too much. Not too much. I felt a little resistance come up. So I said, okay, well, we'll pause. We'll pause just for like a second. Yeah. I'm not going to skip it or anything. I'm going to go back. But
we all have different takes on it. I spent my whole life kind of resisting the other side like that, and in recent years you're very aware. I've been interested in it more and more, but I think that you gotta listen to those voices that you got in your head, and if they say don't.
It's not saying don't, it's just saying I'm just taking it at my own pace. Ready. Like I'm not ready yet. So
and that's fine. Yeah.
I
saw The Exorcist. She wasn't ready either. What happened?
I literally might be ready in like 2 weeks. Or I might be ready around this new moon.
Yeah.
You know?
You might have a dream tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for wishing that upon me. Okay. So then that's your homework for the new moon in Aries on March 21st. And then for the full moon, okay, right? So we're learning about our pairs. In our Pisces episode, the pair is Virgo. In our Aquarius episode, the pair was Leo. So the pair to Aries is Libra. And so while I said that, that Aries rules your first house, I don't know what house Libra rules, so we're not there yet. I will tell you during Libra season. But what I will tell you is that while Aries is about the self, Libra is about partnership, right? It is a balance. It is about your relationships. It rules it's ruled by Venus, which rules your interpersonal relationships. And so I'm going to give you another this is my fun activity for you for the full moon in Libra on April 6th. So in focusing on your partnerships, I'm going to recommend that you text at least one friend, but maybe rule of 3 it for yourself. Text at least one friend and tell them why you're grateful for their friendship. And just like, I'm a mushy person, so you and I kind of just do that all the time. It's like, I love you so much. But like, get specific. I want you to be like, I'm really grateful for this friendship, and I have to tell you it was so meaningful to me when blah, 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 blah. Whatever, fill in the blank for you there. Because I feel like that will open up just like a conversation. We're all lacking, to be fair, we've all been lacking connection the past couple of years. And so we need to exercise that muscle again. We need to open back that channel with our closest relationship. Sure, you've probably shed some people you didn't need, which was good, but you want to reinforce the relationships that are important to you. That's my recommendation.
Even if it goes without being said, say it again.
Exactly.
You've said.
Would you ever get tired of being told you were loved? No. So
no.
Yeah, there's no, you can't be told you're loved enough, you know. That's like the human condition. So do that. And so I'm saying text, but actually if you wanted to get together, that's actually my better recommendation. It's a Thursday. So maybe you can go out and like, I don't know, get a cheeseburger together or something. It's not tacos. It's not Tuesday, but
April 6th cheeseburger day.
I celebrate Cheeseburger Thursday every Thursday. In fact, after
you
we
do?
finish, yeah, I do. I always get a cheeseburger on Thursday. So I'm giving you my personal ritual. Yeah.
A vegan one, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. But it makes me look forward to Thursdays like no other, because I'm like, oh, it's Cheeseburger Thursday. I can eat a burger today. Yeah, it's great. Fun. Yeah. So that's my recommendation for the full moon in Libra. Okay, let's get into like predictions, like with this
prediction,
or more like just like cultural, just like things that are trending, we think, and there'll be more obviously all the banks are collapsing. We talk Silicon Valley is aflame. So that's the thing that's happening, but that has more to do less with Aries season, because we're not even in it yet. That has more to do with Pluto moving, right? Like it was in Capricorn and now it's in Aquarius. I actually think that's what this is.
Interesting, because Pluto I always associate with ruling things that like go like are far away and unseen and unheard, and then suddenly they make impact when you don't expect it. So I feel like Pluto's a long-term situation that is planning situations.
Well, the financial industry, the banking industry is a very like conservative industry. The way that it operates and the way that they, you know, it's a little boys club and they all just fucking take care of each other, and that's a very Capricorn situation. And so for those systems to be renewed or regenerated or looked at through a more cooperative lens rather than just like white rich men, some shit's gonna have to break, right? We're gonna have to break some shit to make it reimagine it in our image.
We need everything to work. Gen Z is fed up.
Yeah, they're not going to stand for this shit. Okay, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. But another thing that's very like coming to a head, I think TikTok's going to get banned. I don't want to.
Yeah, I wonder.
I'm not like willing it.
I feel like it's going to also, but it's also going to be a surprise. But like,
they've been like
we've lived
up
through
on this
billions
for a
of
while.
surprises in the past few years, and I wouldn't be surprised if
if they were just like fuck this shit and just like we're done with it. I kind of feel like we're getting there, right? Like we're getting really close.
You know, I'm not really like a major patriot or anything, but I do kind of feel like I don't know, persuaded by the news. I feel kind of like insecure about using TikTok as much as I want to engage with it. I'm also a little afraid of it because I'm like, what is China doing with my data? Not in a way. I feel like I've learned more about how data is used, so that I'm a little more fearful. Not just general, like they're taking my pictures and my name and my phone number. They're using it to sway cultures and
that's actually what
what scares me.
That's what I'm like in agreement with you. It's less that like nobody fucking cares about you, and all the other social media platforms that are owned by American companies are doing the same thing to you. But just how Facebook has created riots in other countries, right? And face no consequences for what they've enabled overseas. That's what China's doing to us, right? Like I'm not trying to like conspiracy theory you. I'm just telling you
just happening
they're able to influence what's showing up in your timeline, and it's very secretive. And so it's like,
strangely, I've been seeing a lot of things from lots of Asian countries, not just China, but lots of Asian cultures and countries depicting like what's on their news and how their cultures are kind of acting more Western, where they're like loud and kind of rioting against the authority. It's kind of exciting. I've been seeing lots of that pushed in my feed lately.
I haven't
I wonder if it's because I'm Iranian and I post Iranian things.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that I was listening to a podcast earlier today that like talks about like true crime, but somebody wrote in and she's Iranian, and she talked about like going to a protest, and like it like took me there. Like she really like vividly, you know, it was just a letter she wrote, but it was about her showing up to this protest and like looking in the eyes of a you know, a soldier and thinking her life was gonna end. Like it was like, you know, confronting information. And like I am very proud of young women and just young people in general rising up kind of all over the place. It takes a lot of bravery, it takes a lot of courage, you know.
And I guess parts like back to TikTok, these platforms are used by the public, and it's conflicting when I go back and forth. I'm like, the people can use it for good, but then is the corporation bad? It's like Arab Spring, news.
Yeah,
it's sharing like what relevant stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's really I watched a John Oliver too on like WhatsApp and how you can't really like regulate it. So it's like a bunch of like your conservative relatives in like the Philippines are sending you stuff that's like, and they don't know because they're older and they don't know how to like fact check. Like it's like a weird, like a lot of stuff gets like conspiracy theories get more fuel that way because it's not regulated in any way. And I hear you. Like anything, things can be used as a tool for good, and things can be it's all about,
life's not black and white.
Right, nothing is.
It's a spectrum.
We think TikTok's gonna actually finally maybe get banned.
It might get banned.
maybe we'll see. Okay, and then the other, just this is like a general kind of trend that I recently read about, is like clutter is making it makes me upset as a Virgo, right? Because like minimalism to me is not a trend. It's been like my entire essence my whole life, but I guess clutter is making a comeback, and it's not just like clutter for clutter's sake, I guess, but it's more like realism or a version of realism, right? We all have to contend with, you know, millennials. We were the first generation on social media, so our only like version of what media was like this was television. So, and it's not to say that what we did was television, but it was a lot more acted, right? Like we pose in a group shot, or we you know, we take a little bit of a pause and we're like, hey guys, like there's like a whole thing that millennials do when we interact with technology, and it's because TV was the only thing that we had, and we're like, oh, I guess we're kind of putting on our own TV show. Where this new generation, where Gen Z is like, oh, whatever, like I woke up like that, like it's just like a more casual relationship.
Everything from Paris Hilton, who was on television.
Exactly.
They learn everything from Kylie Jenner, who's on their phone.
Yeah, and also like they are like
crudely.
To your point, like they're just, everybody has to react to the generation before them, and because we were so polished, pulled together, minimalist, like there's this backlash to that that's like chaos. You know what I mean? Clutter.
Clutter. Oh yeah, like all of their like even like Balenciaga and like fashion these days is like, it's about not just excess, but it's about like too much. It's too much. It's like, you know, the old adage is like, you know, take one accessory off. It's like a style rule as you leave the house, just to like tone it down. And Gen Z's like, no. I want like a collared shirt with a really baggy sweater and like chunky ass shoes. That's interesting.
And that's fine, right? Like it just is what it is. It's a reaction to this like clean line aesthetics that we've been in for a bit, or like everything beige or black and white.
Everyone wants to be Apple.
Yes,
like
exactly.
So basic and simple and minimal, and simple's hard.
And there's a better to your point, like Apple is a great thing to bring up, because to your point about Apple is like, well, we also, there's no like pretending. We didn't know that we do now, and we still continue to use them. But when the iPhone came out, when I was a senior in high school, we did not think like, oh, this must be being made by, you know, Chinese people in a factory that they're forced to sleep in and they hate it and they have to put suicide nets up. Like we didn't have all of that process. Like Gen Z has just been like smacked in the face with all of that information. They know everything they buy is destroying the earth. They know like there's no getting away from that. It's kind of a little sad, you know, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, it puts a lot of pressure in a good way, I think, on corporations and brands and companies to like be authentic as hell and be sustainable and prove it, and like people want to join in on they wear like their culture these days. They don't just like, people don't want to be sold to anything. They want to join in and say, yes, I represent this.
And I think, I mean, let's even like kind of come at it from like a creative perspective, right? Is like, if you think about the brand systems that we've been seeing in the past few years, like there's way more colors in the color palette, right? There's way more flexibility. It's like we've moved away from
there's a lot of anti-brands these days.
Yeah, there's like less rigidity in it, and it's like a lot more. It's like, no, you don't have 4 brand colors, you have 17. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
Dropbox. And you know what's fun? I love the like I don't use dating apps anymore. yeah, I get to say that. But I love the campaigns that dating apps do, like Tinder or OkCupid doing DTF, but then they say F is like down to like farmer's market or down to whatever else. And then there was another one for Tinder, which I still am confused by, but it's this big glorious pink scene of like a church at sunset, and with big script, like swashy, like white and pink text and glowing effect, it says someone to go to heaven with, and it's a Tinder ad. And I'm like, it's almost so conservative that it's progressive. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, can I tell you, like, this is very meta and this is very Aries energy, is I feel like this episode is just us talking as much as we want. And that's like, yeah, because this is our podcast and we just make up the rules. Like it doesn't have to be, I get very boxed in to shit. I get like, I become like a prisoner a little bit. I'm like, no, this is the fucking format. And it's like, the format doesn't matter. Like,
no, yeah.
You know what
also,
I mean?
the lighting on you right now is heaven. Anyone who's listening, watch right now. The sun is like setting right in front of you or something.
Yes, thank you. It's a combination of natural lighting and the ring light. I will say that, but that's like further out of frame.
It's working.
We might have to make this a permanent situation in the living room, I feel. Okay, and so kind of part of the decluttering, the realism, the potential banning of TikTok is de-influencing, right? Like that's happening too. So instead of being like, hey guys, I got this product and I love it, it's so amazing, it's more hey, I bought this product, it's kind of shitty, I don't think that you should try it. So we kind of, you know, we're seeing that a lot with like all the Hailey Bieber drama. We're not even going to get into it, she's so boring. And
you have to tell me, we have to do an episode where you explain Hailey Bieber to me and Timothy Chalamet and like people who I don't know.
I explain to you Gen Z celebrities. Yeah, happy to do it.
Gen Z as a whole, like
Gen Z celebrities.
Do like the Gen Z Rat Pack.
I know, but I'm not good. Because I don't spend enough time. I don't know who like the YouTubers are, or like they're you know, other than what's the blonde girl? She just launched her podcast. Emma
Trainer?
No, Emma.
Oh, you mean like a current? I don't know.
But that's what I mean. She's like an internet person, and
Jojo Siwa.
Jojo Siwa. No, Jojo Siwa was on Dance Moms. That's why and then became like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Gosh, they have such history.
Yes, that's the thing, is like a lot of people grew up on reality TV. That's a whole different conversation of like, my boyfriend and I have been watching Love Island UK and The Challenge. That's neither here nor there. We'll get into that later. But Love Island, like he's like, these people aren't even like, you know, they're not really in it. Like he gets actually mad that they're not real couples. And I'm like, no one's there. And they
no
only
one's
win
there to find love.
Yeah. And they only win like 50,000 pounds or whatever. He's like, that's not even enough money to like be in. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's about getting Instagram followers. Like, what are you talking about? This is about like digital freedom. They don't want to, they never want to work a regular job again.
They want
that's
to
what
have
the
enough
purpose.
followers for a blue check mark so that they can be paid per post.
So or they can sell sweatshirts or whatever it is, but they're just trying to gain that following. Like this isn't about winning or finding love. Like don't be ridiculous. But back to the de-influencing, there's just a realism that's setting in, I think, with, you know, with content in general of like, you know, break your brand system, just throw some shit up there, show up, but be real when you're showing up, you know, don't be so polished about it.
Filterless.
I saw a post that like has really been, because I spend too much time online, that logging off is the new luxury. Like go fucking, it's spring, go outside. Go outside.